Back to Deshaun. So back to Deshaun Watson.
Speaking of crimes.
So back to Deshaun Watson. No.
Back to Deshaun. Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, like all those other guys.
Yeah,
so back to Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. So back to Deshaun Watson. So back to Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, finally back to Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, finally.
Back to Deshaun Watson.
Back to Deshaun Watson.
Back to Deshaun Watson.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things. I got 2 phones. Upside alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there. There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach. That is
the team you promised me you were going to be this year.
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.
Welcome into episode 108 of the Birds vs. Boys podcast. It's Aidan here. I am joined by producer Vince holding it down for us tonight. And wow, what a week of free agency that was. Pretty crazy since the last time that you and I were together. And last week it was me and Walsh, so it's been 2 weeks of chaos since I've seen you.
Yeah, I forgot I was down for the count last week.
You were. Listen, Jordan had a flu game and you just packed it in. I guess just don't have that game 7 mentality. No. But it's been crazy. It's been crazy since the last time that we had an episode. It was me and Walsh, and we were reflecting on the Carson Wentz news. And I feel like we talked about Carson Wentz for 30 minutes, and it would be impossible to dedicate 30 minutes to someone tonight. We might start there with Deshaun Watson, just everything going on with him, and it may all be mute because he could be on another team by the time that this is published. But that's the big news, and here's my take related to the Eagles. No, not that I don't think he's going to the Eagles. It's that I think they're waiting to spend their money until they know for sure 1,000,000% that they are out of the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes.
I could not be more out on him on the Eagles. I mean, I forget what year did we bring in Mike Vick? Like 2010?
Yeah, it was awesome, though. That was awesome. This is different, though.
Yeah, yes, because Mike Vick's situation was very different. He wasn't victimizing human beings. He also wasn't even victimizing dogs. If you watch that documentary, he didn't really have anything to do with it. It was just his house. But
yeah, that was a classic. Like, don't let your friends who aren't rich and famous do all the things that rich and famous people get to do with none of the responsibility or risk. That was the lesson there.
Yeah, don't let your friends stay at your place while you're going to be gone for 8 months at a time. Especially your friends where, like, you know what their hobbies are and you know what they're going to do.
Yeah, when they have illegal hobbies and illegal interests, and then you just give them a mansion and then you leave. And then also they have access to your money. It just feels like it could go wrong.
And then he had Tony Dungy vouching for him.
Yeah.
So obviously, like, no one is on Deshaun's side here. Like, no one is like, oh, I got you. Like, I'll help you out. He's like the Jussie Smollett of the NFL.
That's what's
everyone's just like, dude, no one is on your side here. Like, get the hell out.
That's what's so funny about him having these meetings with these teams. And it's not like the teams being like, hey, so you like a predator? It's more like them giving presentations as to why he would be a good fit on their team. I'm just like, shouldn't this be the other way around? Like, shouldn't you be vetting him to, like, make sure that, like, he's not going to be suspended for a season if you trade for him? Because obviously the haul is going to be incredible. Multiple first-round picks plus some more picks on top of that, and maybe some players so you can clear cap space for him. So I feel like you might want to flip that presentation just like last slide. You know the episode of The Office? I'll get it out of the way early, where Michael gives the presentation and right at the end it just says sex ? And it should just be like your presentation at the end. Sexual predator ?
I just don't know how. So I've been playing Retro Bowl on my phone. Been addicted to it.
Congratulations. Big win.
Yeah, no, champions. Thank you very much. My quarterback, Caleb Sipos, brought us to the Super Bowl or Retro Bowl. But so my like theory there has been only bring in players with good morale. You don't want to bring in a problem for the team.
I think this all the time.
The best talent in the free agent market could have the worst morale, I'm not bringing him in. Just because why bring team morale down? I won the Retro Bowl with like a 2-star defense and a 2-star offense because morale was at 97%.
Yes, I am 1000% a morale guy. This is probably why I root for a bunch of teams who don't win, but I am a big believer. Like if the vibes are off, it doesn't matter how much talent you have. Also, power ranking the accomplishments in this podcast. I won multiple rec leagues now, so I have to put it above yours just slightly. 1 and 2. Yep. So I've won multiple men's rec leagues basketball recently. 2 in the same month. Vince, you won the Retro Bowl?
Retro Bowl, yeah.
So that's 2, slightly below, and then like way down is like forgetting to pull out and having a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had some good work stuff happen in there too. We'll throw that in there.
Yes, you did have a big week.
So down at like 9, 10, I think, is having a child. I had 2 kittens. Maybe that's above.
That's 2. That's more than 1. So,
yeah, and the puppy. So that's 3. So that's 3 times as good as having 1 little kid.
Yeah, and then like you had the work week of your life. Fantastic news coming for you, and then also running a zoo at the same time. Just a lot of credit there. So a lot of accomplishments.
Yeah, and my girlfriend's gone for 2 weeks. I'm doing this on my own, holding the fort down over here. Place isn't a mess. My diet's a mess. I'm just eating whatever's in the house. But you take the wins where you can get them.
The bed's made in the background, so that's got to be a win.
I did it just for this. It's been that has been kind of just wherever I fall asleep, and then it looks how it looks.
Don't break the fourth wall. They don't need to know it's just for this. All that matters is that it's made.
I did the little karate chop to make it look good.
Remember the first week of school? Not the first week of school. The first week of summer after school, where you're finally not confined to the same sleep schedule, same routines, same bedtime, everything like that. So you're like, I am staying up till 4 a.m. just because. Is that how it is without your girlfriend there? Like, I'm just going to do whatever I want because.
Oh, yeah. It's the Wild West over here right now.
No laws.
No, none at all. It's if I didn't have work responsibilities, I'd be sleeping until 3 or 4, and then I would be up until like 5 in the morning. I would just be nocturnal.
I just thought about the fact that everything we just said. So it's pretty much like that first week of summer and how there's no laws. You pretty much do whatever you want. And then we're just going to add this weekend. So Eddie is going to visit you and stay with you. So there's a pretty solid chance that place just falls through into your neighbors below you.
Yeah, there's a pretty good chance. There's also a pretty good chance he does not fit on my couch because it's not a big couch.
Ooh, that's tough sleep.
We'll do head to toe on the bed.
Yeah, I was just clean your feet. There's not a lot of options there in the studio.
So can't wait to see if this podcast still has a producer next weekend. Me and Eddie may both be dead.
Yeah, we'll see who strangles who. It's pretty much like a 48-hour cage match.
No, it's going to be whatever guy Eddie pisses off at the bar strangles both of us.
Yes, that's also pretty true. Yeah. Good point. Back to Deshaun. Again, the tangents that we get off on are fantastic. I think it's the best part of the show.
Yeah. All right, football. Back to that.
By the way, this is a football show. Back to Deshaun. I do think so. My main point, I think the Eagles are just waiting around. I think they want to know once and for all that they are out of the sweepstakes and they're not going to spend another cent until they figure out that they are. We've all been in that position where at the beginning of the week, one of your friends says, "Hey, we're doing this weekend." You're like, "Oh, that sounds pretty fun." And they're like, "Are you in?" And you're like, yeah, I'll have to see. I might be." Because your other friends haven't made plans yet because they can make a plan on Thursday or Friday. And that could be way more fun. So you say to yourself, I can't commit to that plan yet. There could be better plans. There could be more exciting opportunities on the table. That's where the Eagles are at. They're like, Myles Jack, yeah, I could be in. It could be a fun time. But I got to see if I can have fun with Deshaun Watson.
I think they're also doing the thing where they don't want to make the final decision. So they're just waiting for someone else to make it for them.
Oh, that's my sweet spot.
Yeah, like
I
they'd be
don't
like, "Oh,
like
someone else got him. We couldn't do anything about it," or it's no one else got him, so we had to take him at such a low price.
Yeah,
It's
like you do nudge in like the direction you want to go. Like I'm sure they're like, "Hey, we'll give you this," but at the same time, if it doesn't work out, then they're just gonna be like, well, someone else just beat us. It's like you may have a restaurant that you want to go to, and you're like, I haven't had Italian in a while because you want to go to a certain restaurant, and like, but you're not gonna be the one who says, well, I want to go here because you don't want to make the decision. You want somebody else to decide, and if they decide somewhere else, you're like, well, it's not on me.
You ever seen that viral video? It's that evangelical guy, the one that was like, "COVID's done because God stepped on its neck." That guy, remember him?
Honestly, they just feel like they're coming in droves now.
So there's like an older viral video, the same guy, of this like reporter confronting him about his private jet, being like, "So it's not very like, it's not very or like, why do you have this jet that you paid all this money for?" He's like, "Well, Tyler Perry made it so cheap, I just had to buy it. I had no choice but to buy it." And that's going to be whatever team ends up with Deshaun Watson.
It was such a good steal. Why not? Who could pass up this incredible opportunity?
Yeah. And the fun part of that story is that dude is an absolute psychopath. So it's kind of going to be the same thing.
You're kidding me. The evangelical pastor who rips people off for money and doesn't believe in science is a psychopath. Who could have seen that being the end of the story here?
Yeah. So that's who's going to draft Deshaun Watson, the Joel Osteen guy.
The Joel Osteen guy. Hey, that guy's mansion is in Houston, which is where Deshaun is right now.
I remember that because he had that whole arena where he has his like services. And when they had the hurricane, he's like, well, no, we're flooded too. Don't come here.
Yeah, and everyone's like, wait, it's like on a hill, like you're totally fine. And he was like,
water down.
Oh yeah, come on in. Sorry about that. That was the all-time just like scummy fake pastor move.
Yeah, he's like, I'm all about helping people, but until poor people want to sleep on my floor, please go somewhere else.
Well, listen, I'm not gonna get dirt and water all over the place.
Just wipe your feet, please. That's all we ask.
Yeah.
God bless.
Unreal. So we've covered religion, science, social cues, and Eddie and Vince sleeping together.
Welcome to episode 108.
Welcome to episode 108.
Chris Hansen here.
So later in the show for our TikTok, we're going to do top destinations for Deshaun Watson. I don't know if the Eagles are in or out every day. Every day for the past year, they've been in and out. It's like, remember that dog on TikTok that was a trend? It's like, is it Bones Day or no Bones Day? Are we in on Deshaun Watson or are we out on Deshaun Watson? Is it an in day or an out day?
It's funny because the whole reason we're in this situation is because Deshaun Watson was having Bone Day and no Bone Day.
Unreal. We're going to talk about teams that are in on him. One of them is the Atlanta Falcons, who were I think they referred to it as a surprise or secret kind of competitor for him. So, and I was just all I could
surprise.
No. I mean, a little bit. I was listening to Mike Florio talk about Matt Ryan's contract. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. It's like when I do math on my paychecks, I'm like, wait a second. This is not what I thought I signed up for. I thought it was way more. This math is not working out.
Yeah. They're like, who's 401k and why are they getting all this money?
Yeah. Wait a second. I have to pay a tax to the city? Doesn't the city have its own money? Why does it take my money?
IRS, stop listening right now, but just don't tell them you live in the city.
Yeah, listen. Hypothetically, if you had another address that you could use, again, totally hypothetical. It would not pertain to either person here. If you could just use another address, it wouldn't be the worst idea.
For legal purposes, this is a joke.
But for legal purposes,
if you run a business too, and for legal purposes, like an address outside of the city would be the way to go.
Yeah, 100%.
For legal purposes.
So back to Deshaun Watson.
Speaking of crimes.
Oh, yeah, speaking of criminals, I can't wait to see how many back to Deshaun Watsons we can sneak in here tonight. It was off your sex joke though, so it may have been way past the punch. But Atlanta is in on him. Apparently, they met with him. They told Matt Ryan that they met with him, which is hilarious. Like, imagine telling your girlfriend, "Hey, so I went on Bumble, met this other girl, and I was just feeling it out to see if she'd be a better fit." Like, imagine that scenario. Anyway, when we were in Atlanta, on the Uber from the airport. We're like, what should we do? Like, what's fun here? And we're thinking like bars and clubs. Like, what bar do we go to? Bunch of guys, have fun. We would like to drink. He just rattles off a bunch of spas that you can get happy endings at. Like, we literally passed 20 points, and he goes, yeah, for $60, I'll give you a happy ending. Like, any place that serves like Bud Light, like anything where we can get like cheap shots.
Deshaun's like, I'm waiving my no trade clause for the Wings.
And that is all I have thought about since Atlanta's been in on Deshaun Watson is that Uber driver and just like recommendations of where to go in Atlanta. And he goes straight to like happy ending spas.
Is there anything else in Atlanta? I mean,
it was an awesome city. I never took him up on his recommendation, but I'm sure it'll be awesome for Deshaun Watson too, since there's apparently a lot of scenarios where he can do that.
Wait, I hear the Wings are great too. So,
but yeah, the like tailgate scene top notch because they care more about eating in the parking lot than the actual team.
Yeah. Isn't that the first place of lemon pepper?
That's where they have the strip club with the lemon pepper wings for Louis.
Yeah. Shout out Rose.
Yes. Awesome. So back to Deshaun Watson. No.
Back to Deshaun.
So back to the Eagles. Shout out Rob Ellis. They did make one signing. Obviously, I am thrilled. Haason Reddick, Temple legend, greatest defense of all time, probably. Maybe the 2016 Temple Owls or the 2001 Miami Hurricanes. Who's to say? Or the Georgia defense from this year. Who's to say? Haason Reddick coming home. What a phenomenal signing. This is like a no-brainer, right?
I think they had this in the works for a while. Not that they were tampering. For legal purposes, Roger Goodell, they weren't tampering. But I think this was set in stone for a while now. So I think while they wait on the Deshaun Watson news to be made for them, I think they were like, let's just come in. We were never going to not sign you.
Yes. I honestly think you can make the case that it's been in the wings since he was drafted. He was drafted one pick ahead by the Cardinals, and we took Derek Barnett with the next pick. I know that they were in on Haason Reddick because they were right down the road. They knew exactly what it was about. So they were like always in on him. And I think they were in on him last year as well, if I remember the rumors correctly. Like everyone's like, hey, this would be a pretty good fit. And now it finally comes to fruition. He's finally coming home. Destiny fulfilled. Temple boy back at the link.
What do we think this means for our guy Fletcher?
Cox. So he'll still be there just because he has such a huge cap hit. I don't even think it's feasible to trade him. Just looking at it, it's almost like the Matt Ryan thing. It's like we could trade him and it would make us worse on defense and it would cost us more money. Even I'm dumb enough to realize that would not work.
Yeah, and then when you trade a player who is under contract and important on the team, morale goes down by about 7 to 10%.
Again, morale. He's a team captain.
Yeah, I'm making a joke out of it, but it's 100% true.
It is actually, yeah. Like if you have bad vibes, it does not matter how much talent you have.
Look at the Sixers for the last 5 years.
There were times that they had good vibes though. Like,
yeah, they were winning.
The team that had the worst vibes was the most frustrating team, and they got swept in the first round. Perfect example. Like Joel Embiid came out the next year and was like, I was miserable showing up to work with that bubble year team with Josh Richardson and Al Horford. He was like, I hate this team. He literally came out and was like, I was miserable. I didn't want to come to work. And they got swept right out of the playoffs. They were the 6th seed.
Yeah, and that team had too many head down guys. Like dudes where like plays over and your head's just immediate like this. It's Ben Simmons, if he doesn't do something awesome, is that guy. Markelle Fultz was that guy. Joel is that guy a little bit. That's why he needs like a James Harden to be like, that viral video, the dude walking up behind his teammate, like lifting his chin up.
Yeah, all-time clip.
Yeah, that like Joel needs that guy, and I think that's what you get in Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, like all those other guys.
Yeah,
so Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, so back to Deshaun Watson. But no, Haason Reddick, I think this is a home run get. I think the value of the contract, the Von Miller contract is insane to me.
3 years? Bills. Isn't he 75?
Yeah, pretty much. Like he's in his 30s, and they just gave him a 6-year contract. Is there like some like way out after like year 3?
Retirement?
Anything? Yeah, they have a
retirement home.
This is that's an insane contract. So looking at the value of some of these other guys, I think Haason Reddick was a home run, great value, great production. I saw this stat. It's like people with the amount of like double-digit sacks or the amount of sacks over 2 years. It's like Aaron Donald, T.J. Watt, Haason Reddick, something crazy like that. So this just seems like another one where it's like they got Javon Hargrave on the D-line a few years ago, and everyone's like, you know what? This seems really good value for his production. And I feel like it's the same with Haason Reddick. And now you have both of those guys locked up for long term. You've got Fletcher Cox there, Brandon Graham coming back, Josh Sweat will be back. I wouldn't even be shocked if they went defensive line in the first round again with that kid from Florida State, or maybe Jordan Davis, the freak from Georgia. And honestly, I saw someone – I have been thinking about this depth-wise for a while, and I want this so badly, and someone came up with the perfect term for it. They want hockey shift on the defensive line. They want to have so much talent and depth that you can hockey shift and take out a whole line of good, talented players and put in another line of good, talented players. So job's not done on the defensive line. Keep it rolling.
Yeah, I love that idea. I mean, obviously, the most as many good players you can have on your team is A-okay in my book.
Yeah, honestly. Like, oh, you have one or two good people at a position? Great. Get more. Because you about have 7 or 8 positions where you have no good people.
So who's come off the board so far that you're like upset the Eagles didn't go after or didn't get?
Myles Jack for sure, because 1, linebacker is a position need. 2, what are the Jaguars doing? They are the person who gets their tax refund back, and instead of being like, wow, I finally have some money now, let's save it. They're like King of Prussia Mall right now, spending all of it. That is what the Jaguars are doing. I was shocked that they released him, and I thought that was a great pickup, fantastic for the Steelers. It's the exact type of move that they do. He'll fit in perfectly there. I think he could help tremendously here as well for a position of need.
Yeah. What about Amari Cooper? If all it took was a 5th, are you bummed about it?
No. Talk about bad morale, guys. He is the all-time, like, I put him up there. He's in my Mount Rushmore of just like bad vibes guys. And he's not a bad person. There's just no emotion or energy. It's like
here. So the stuff I was seeing on Twitter was a lot of players were like, no, he didn't talk to you. He was good in the locker room. He just didn't talk to the media.
Yeah, when they did Hard Knocks, like he played chess with like everybody in the locker room, which is cool, but like there's just nothing there. Like he is the classic player. You know how they always say you have like a quiet 20 in basketball? Like you look at the box score, I was like, I didn't know that guy had 22 points. It's Tobias Harris. That is that is Amari Cooper. Like it'll be the third quarter, he'll catch a ball and like, oh yeah, he's on the team. Like that's Amari Cooper.
He's kind of like the opposite of like Rob Gronkowski. Like all 50 of his yards were loud.
Yes, because Brady would target him like 4 straight times, and you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that drive they had against the Steelers where they went on the game-winning drive for a touchdown, and he did not throw it to another person. They went 75 yards, and he threw it 6 straight times to Gronk. And there was
I don't know if this is going to make absolutely any sense at all. So if like a Gronk type player and a Amari Cooper type player or fonts on a computer, Gronkowski would be like some kind of like Comic Sans type font, something big, loud, in your face. You're going to see it. Yeah. Amari Cooper is like script, like calligraphy.
Yes.
It looks better, but it's more subtle.
You're like, oh, this is clean. Like this has value. I see it. You know, like, oh, this looks nice. It looks like a nice little document here. Can't read it. Too small.
Yeah.
That's Amari Cooper. The stat line's just like, it's just empty. Feels like nothingness stats. So, I mean, it's a good pickup for the Browns. We'll see what they do at quarterback. That is an all-time awkward situation.
What, the Browns?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like Baker Mayfield, I'm not the biggest fan, but at the same time, you made the playoffs. You just absolutely shellacked your rival in the first round, and then he tore his labrum. Everybody else on the team sucked, and now you're like, well, we're moving on from this guy. Like if I were him, I'd be like, well, all right, like screw you guys. His problem is the progressive commercials. I'm convinced.
Well, if he gets moved from Cleveland, what the hell is Progressive going to do?
I don't know. I really don't.
Because the stadium is a huge part of those commercials.
Yes. Yeah. And I think Progressive owns the rights to the baseball stadium in Cleveland. It's Progressive Field.
Really?
It must be local to Cleveland in some form or fashion, which is why Baker Mayfield is thrown at us 86 times a day on NFL Sundays with those commercials.
Maybe it is best just to get him out of town then.
Yeah. Also, shout out to the Colts. They are now my sworn enemy. You got rid of Wentz and because your pill addict owner didn't like him. Where you at now? Your options are maybe Jimmy G and nothing else. Best of luck, losers. Yeah. And listen, have at it. Listen, I am convinced that we can get a. You know how it's like if Wentz doesn't play this amount of snaps, it turns into a second-round pick. Well, screw you. Now I want the second-round pick too, even though I got the first for Gardner Minshew. Idiot. That owner's a dumbass.
I forget who tweeted it. It was probably E-Rock or someone. The Thanos meme with Howie. It's like you couldn't handle your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
All time. Listen,
as much as I hate Howie, I do. I mean, he's just like with trades. He's funny.
Oh, fantastic! That's never been his problem. It's the draft. Like after we get the picks, then we never do anything with them. If we could just have somebody draft for him and just create a separate division, and it's just this is the drafting office, and it's just a bunch of people.
You know, they could call it the scouting department, and he.
That's a great idea. I'm glad we shopped that.
Him going to high five that guy, he's like, "What the fuck?"
You know what's crazy? That was Milton Williams, who turned out to be a stud. I forgot to mention him on the hockey line shift on the D line, but he was great as a rookie. That'll be an all-time funny clip. One, I hate Howie Roseman, so anytime someone spurns him, like, I'm in. But at the same time, they cut to that, and then they cut to the analyst being like, well, what do you see in this kid? They're like, well, his comp is Aaron Donald. I'm like, wait a second. Where did this come from? Well, his comp is the best defensive player in football.
Comps are my favorite. Like,
yeah.
His comp is like Scottie Pippen.
Yeah. I remember it was like Rory Hachimura for the Wizards out of Gonzaga. And the kid couldn't make a basket outside of like 14 feet. And they're like, what's his comp? Kawhi Leonard. Like, okay.
I remember that. It's like, just the visual of it also is just like, what?
Yeah. Everybody, I heard someone describe Malik Willis as a combination of Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. I'm like, so the greatest quarterback in the league, like 2 MVP candidates who are perennial Pro Bowlers combined. Oh,
yeah. I like when ones came out. They're like, he's like a combination of like Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and Ben Roethlisberger. I was like, yeah.
Is he? Are you sure?
You promise?
We gotta reserve everything. Like Dan Orlovsky, I know I'm biased that I like him, but he had like a normal comp and people were freaking out. He's like, you know, Kenny Pickett reminds me of Tony Romo, which is like totally fine. Like Tony Romo was a good, like very good quarterback, well above average. Doesn't have any like major wins to his name, but he was a good quarterback. And people were like, oh, you didn't compare Kenny Pickett to Peyton Manning? How could you?
I think LeBron ruined player comps when he came out of high school.
Oh, yeah.
It was just this kid's going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, and then everyone was right. And now they just swing for the fences every single time.
Well, now every good prospect, either like he's the next LeBron.
Yeah.
But no, the whole point of LeBron was that there is no next LeBron. It's just LeBron.
Yeah. And then, like, no, that never really happens with football. Like, you don't have a player coming out of college where you're like, this is going to be the greatest player of all time, and we know it for a fact. That just never happens.
The most surefire thing in the past, like, 2 decades was, 1, Andrew Luck, which, yes, he was great and then retired early, and 2, Trevor Lawrence, who, again, I don't know what the Jaguars are doing.
They're going to be fun to watch.
They're going to be fun to watch. I mean, they are going to be better, I think.
Yeah. I saw someone say, if anything, every game is going to be entertaining.
Yeah. They're going to be like the new Chargers, where the Chargers, but it'll be at the 1 o'clock version. So you're going to be in the witching hour, and the Jaguars
are going to be the 8 a.m. version.
Yeah. They're going to be 1-9 in one possession games, but they're going to be in them.
Well, Doug Peterson's the coach, so that's also.
Yeah.
One possession games are not his thing.
Well, I'm rooting for him, and he has to beat the Colts twice a year for me now.
True.
Yeah. That's how that works. But, I guess we can touch on the Jaguars in the terms of they kind of ballooned the wide receiver market there. I'm sure the Packers are pissed because now they owe Devante Adams like $1 billion, the rights to a planet, and then like shares in Tesla and Amazon. Like, I don't even know. Like, if Christian Kirk is worth that much, how much is Devante Adams worth?
Yeah, like they're gonna have to like hire Marquez Valdez-Scantling to like work in his house.
Yes, honestly. You're like, okay, you can have your house and Alan Lazard's house, and we're going to combine them together. I'm going to look up Christian Kirk's contract here because it's just insane. I like Christian Kirk a lot, but he's been wide receiver 3 on the Falcons for quite some time. Oh, I clicked on the first blog that came up, and the headline was Christian Kirk's contract breakdown shows it's not all that crazy.
That's what I'm seeing.
Are you sure? And then I looked, and it was the Jaguars SB Nation page. And I was like, oh, that's why.
The second headline is Christian Kirk's $84 million contract details and how it affects Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Yeah.
Because now he's up his house. Devante Adams' house.
Yeah. Okay. It's a $72 million deal. I think what he means with $37 million guaranteed, there must just be a word missing, which is fine, including a $20 million signing bonus. Here's the line. The size of the deal turned a lot of heads. Yeah, you could say that. As the average per year stands out as a sizable amount. Yeah, it does, because it is.
Do you think whoever the GM of the Jags is, do you think his other GM friends are calling him up after that and be like, hey, man, what the fuck?
Yeah, I think that happens. Like, I think that happens in every sport. Like, okay, so today, the Rockies moved on from Nolan Arenado, a year and a half ago or a year ago? Gave him to the Cardinals. Yeah. And all right, you didn't want to pay that third baseman. And they turned around and gave Chris Bryant like 7 years over $100 million. Like, wait a second. Why are you guys screwing up the market? That's how I feel like people are like at the Jags right now. Like the Packers have to be so pissed, but the Eagles have to be pissed too. That's probably why they wanted to trade for Calvin Ridley, because they knew they would just trade for him, have him under contract, wouldn't have to sign him. All these guys getting deals, like this market for wide receivers is ballooned beyond. I don't think anyone saw this coming. It's crazy, but I mean, you can't blame I know we're saying the Eagles should spend money and not wait for Deshaun, but at the same time, don't spend money there. These are bad contracts.
Yeah. I mean, I think Calvin Ridley would have been a safe bet.
Yeah. Well, that's a good one.
Yeah. Low risk, high reward. And I didn't have anything of substance to say. I didn't have anything of substance to say about that. I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah. Well, his parlay was very high risk because he bet on the Falcons, which is just, why do that to yourself?
Yeah, I know.
So but that explains a lot as to why they were trying to go after Calvin Ridley, because if they had an inkling of what the market was going to be, and that's what Christian Kirk demanded and stuff like that, I totally understand where they were coming from. So I don't know. It's looking like they might be out. I very highly doubt that they'd be in with Odell Beckham, who is technically a free agent. I think that they'll be in on Allen Robinson still. His market's weird because the Bears' offense was so bad. Like, are you like, is he past his prime, or was he on the worst offense an NFL has ever seen? It was pretty much like the Wishbone Foundation that high schoolers run. It's hard to tell.
I think that's a good option though, because like it probably is the second thing.
I think
it was I'm pulling this stat out of absolutely nowhere, and it could be 100% wrong. I'm pretty sure Justin Fields is one of the worst 15+ yard ball throwers last year.
He had to be, because I don't remember a single downfield play that the Bears ever had. And it's not all his fault. It's just a very bad team, badly run, bad offense, bad scheme, everything. But I think it hinders Allen Robinson, like his value, which would be a good thing for the Eagles, because then you can kick the tires there and be like, all right, well, we're getting him at a lower price than probably what his talent would be if his offense was like, if he were playing, if you switched out Allen Robinson and Mike Williams, like he would have already been locked up Mike Williams deal, right? I think it was like 3 years, $60 million, or like 3 years, $63 million extension that he signed with the Chargers. Like Allen Robinson would be getting that if you switched those two players, and he was the one playing with Justin Herbert. So I think that's one name to keep an eye on. Juju Smith-Schuster was another one. So they were in on him last year, but I guess they're not in on him this year is what I read from Jimmy Kempski. So I don't know. Like he's a guy, like if we got him for 1 year, $8 to $10 million, or 1 year, $10 million, I'd be like, okay, sure. Yeah.
I mean, the last time we traded for a veteran Bears receiver, it worked out pretty well for 2 years. So I'm cool just going back to the well.
That's what I think that too. You have a quarterback going into his second full year. Go get him a wide receiver 1 from the Bears and see where the offense takes us.
It went well. Then he had one bad drop and one bad number in his phone, and it all went downhill. But, learn from your mistakes.
Yes, but he is insured safely with State Farm. That was an all-time moment in my life. I just seeing that name on the phone with my coworker. My coworker not knowing. I'm like, that person actually say their name's Alshon Jeffrey, and she was like, yeah, he said he's coming in to get a quote. I'm like, what?
He's like, I want to drop insurance.
Yeah. Well, the problem is, after 2 years, don't extend Allen Robinson. Just leave it at 2 years. That's where we ran into trouble.
Don't extend him in the middle of the first season.
Yes.
Granted, they did win the Super Bowl that year, and everything was looking good.
They didn't extend him that year. They extended him the following year. That was the problem.
Right. Yeah, that was a mistake.
That ended up biting us in the butt.
Yeah, Howie's like, look, I did something good. Let's double down.
Yeah. They're like, all right, well, you can stick around. You've been all right.
maybe that should be the new rule. Whenever Howie makes one good move, don't let him think about it anymore.
Yes. Oh yeah. Just cut it there and you're done.
Like, he didn't re-sign Jay Jai or LeGarrette Blount. They were here to do their job, and then they left.
Yep, and you're like, I can find value at running back elsewhere, which this is going to be a topic down the road that we're going to focus on because Miles Sanders, they are going to have to make a decision.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do, people forget he was Saquon Barkley's backup at Penn State. So you can't do something like you did with Saquon where you give him a bag and then he gets hurt 75 times a year.
Yeah, now they're trying to trade Saquon, which is wild. I would still take Saquon. Has anyone had worse offensive line play than Saquon? I still think he could be very good.
I mean, I would definitely trade for him. I'll take a weapon. It's just...
Yeah, I was about to say, if you're giving weapons away, I'll take them. That'd be like when we got Darren Sproles, are you sure we're getting him for a 6th-round pick? With all the stuff that he did on the field. Still one of the all-time great trades.
I heard someone say one time, which is what I've just been saying this whole episode, just stealing other people's thoughts. But someone said whenever Darren Sproles leaves the team, they just have a void at running back for a decade.
Mm-hmm. The Saints did not have someone fill Sproles' role till they got Alvin Kamara. You're right. Every team, they're just like, wait, our offense has regressed and our running back core has regressed and our passing game has regressed. What is the common denominator? It is always Darren Sproles. You're right.
Mm-hmm. And then the Chargers didn't have someone until Austin Eckler. Melvin Gordon.
Yeah. And even Melvin Gordon, he was a great running back, but they didn't have a complement like Sproles.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting because there's a good amount of wide receiver names out there that you could kind of kick the tires on, see what's going on, see if they're viable options. I don't know if any of them are, which really sucks because I think aside from linebacker, I'm looking at my TikTok from last week. I had linebacker 2 and dynamic wide receiver as number 1 most important need. So they got edge rusher, so one down on my list.
The only thing they can't do is draft a wide receiver and have 2 young wide receivers. So I'm sure they're going to do that.
Yes. Well, listen, I would take Chris Olave in a heartbeat.
Okay, that's fair.
Or if one of those Alabama kids drop, somebody both tore their ACL. So that sucks.
Chris Olave is projected to go mid-first round, right? 18.
Well, it's a good thing that we have 15, 16, and 19. So that kind of is right in the sweet spot.
The mock draft I'm looking at has him going 18 to the Saints. So that's definitely doable.
Yes. Oh, yeah. In that mock draft, do you see those Alabama kids anywhere? Jameson Williams?
Well, I made a graphic of the mock draft and just pulled out 6 different picks. So the whole thing.
Any other good ones? Any other names?
Kenny Pickett at 11 to Washington.
Next Tony Romo. Well, that would be hilarious.
Well, the same thing happens to Carson Wentz again. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I think he would just retire.
And then Malik Willis to the Lions at 32.
Well, that's great for the Lions since he's the combination of Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. What a steal at 32. Lamar was drafted 32nd. It's all coming to fruition.
And then the other one I liked was Nakobe Dean to the Raiders, which would be kind of scary.
What pick?
22.
If he is still on the board at 22, I will have a brain aneurysm.
That's why I put it on there. I was like, I don't know how he's still here at 22.
If we pass on him 3 times, I'm done. I'm in charge.
So we would have to pass on him. The Cowboys would have to pass on him, and then every other team would also have to pass on him.
Yeah, well, we would have to pass on him 3 different times.
Yeah, he's the second linebacker off the board after Devin Lloyd at 10.
I would take Dean over Lloyd, but that might.
That's why I put them both on the mock draft graphic.
Yeah. You know how to get the people arguing. That's what we're going to do with the TikTok soon. But yeah, I would take Chris Olave and just if you had 2 young stud receivers. The problem with Ohio State and I think Chris Olave is really good. I think he's just he's a smooth operator, smooth route runner, always gets open. Problem is I can't tell who's good at Ohio State because they're all so good that I can't tell if there's an elite one where you're like, wow, this guy is going to thrive at the next level. Because on every single play, they have 4 wide receivers open. He didn't play in the bowl game, and they what's his name? NJB? Or what, I forget what his name is. He had that insane game where he had 300 yards receiving. And then they were like, oh, yeah, by the way, here's this guy with 300 yards receiving. Oh, also, here's Marvin Harrison's son. And then they have Garrett Wilson who's going to go in the first round. It's insane. So I can't tell how good they are or if there's just 4 separate incredible ones.
Is it Jackson Smith, something that I'm not going to try to pronounce?
Thank you. Yep.
Okay.
That's what I was avoiding as well. Jackson Smith, JSN, right? Yeah.
Sounds like a TV station that they make up on a TV show. But
yeah. I knew his initials. I knew they called him by 3 initials. But yeah, so that kid is unreal. He couldn't come out yet because he was too young, or else he'd be a first-round pick. But also, here's 2 other first-round picks, and also Marvin Harrison's son. So I don't know. That's my only problem is are they too good?
I mean, is that a problem? It's like Michael Scott. The thing about my strengths is that the thing about my weaknesses is that they're all strengths.
Those are my strengths. Well, yeah, but I just mean you can't double team any of these kids because then it's just going to leave another first-round talent wide open. So none of them have to deal with safeties at the top. None of them ever have to deal with double teams. They run that crazy spread offense. And also, hey, the quarterback's going to go in the first round next year. So I can't tell, how incredible they are.
Yeah, you know what? On second thought, let's just start taking anyone that had success in college because we haven't been doing that. Howie's been here's this guy that could be a steal because he's trying to get steals in the first round.
Yeah.
Draft first-round talent in the first round, and then go draft your rugby player, generational offensive lineman in the 7th.
In the 7th round, correct. Yes, that's where you do it. Perfect. Yeah, that is my rule. That's why, listen, we can mix best of both worlds possibly in the second round. I don't know how far these Alabama kids are going to drop with the bad ACLs. I don't think it's far, but if they're there in the second round, you get your value and you get one of the best players and one of the best teams in college football. It's all there for me.
SEC, just keep drafting SEC. Let's
SEC,
keep it.
just if they play in the college football playoff, draft them. It's not hard. I have a full rant coming when we do our actual draft show. This is the week before the draft. I have this rant memorized, and I'm just waiting to save it on that rule about drafting the best players and the best teams. And I can't wait to.
It's probably going to be very similar to last year's.
Probably. It worked out, though. We got Devante Smith.
Yeah. We named the episode last year Best Player Available, bitch. That's what we named the episode.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's pretty similar. I've added a little bit of a flair to it, but
okay.
It's along the same lines. Yes. So back to Deshaun Watson. It is time for our TikTok tonight. We are doing top 3 destinations for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, finally back to Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, finally. We hadn't had enough of talking about Deshaun Watson. I can't wait for this to be over. I just need the Browns to offer 5 first-round picks and be done with this.
I know. I don't. Maybe I just don't.
Big Baker.
Maybe I just don't remember him playing because it's been 7 years since he's been on the field. But is he worth that much?
Not 4 first-round picks. I don't think there's anyone worth 4 first-round picks. He's very good. He's a top 5. He's a teetering on top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, but he tore his ACL, which we saw with Wentz. It's hard to come back from.
Yeah, but he played after that. He's torn it twice, actually.
Okay, yeah, so he's torn it twice. He has 2 ACL tears. He's in legal trouble, and he's had over a year off.
You're focusing not too much on the red flags.
Are there any others?
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. No, I think he covered it. I couldn't think of any other red flags because he's so talented that there are no other ones. But no, I mean, no, he's not worth 4 first-round picks, but I do think he's a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah, the Browns are like Matty, and then Deshaun Watson's like Nate.
A perfect toxic combo.
Yeah, it's just like, here's this dude. Here's all these problems. We also have all these problems, and that's why we think we'll work together.
That is why I had the hot take that he'd be better off with Cassie, and that relationship would actually work. That was my hot take, and I was too scared to say it because everyone was going to jump down my throat for saying it. But they're Maddie and Nate, too toxic for each other. Too toxic.
So like are the Panthers Cassie?
Yeah.
Just getting sloppy at the party.
There's just Matt Rule. Just gets too drunk and falls in love too easily.
Matt Rule gets drunk and comes down in his sexy one piece.
And throws up in a hot tub.
Back to Deshaun Watson.
Last time. All right. Top 3 destination for Deshaun Watson. At 3, I have the Eagles. This isn't even a homer pick. It's just anytime we get a guy, it's not because they're linked to us. It's when we're like the secret team. So that's why I think the Eagles are at 3.
At 3, I have Civil Court. I think let's handle all his other dilemmas first. I think if that happens first and he ends up getting, his ass handed to him in civil court, then maybe no team goes after him.
That was going to be my joke. Should I do it?
Up to you.
I had I had a different one. Yeah, I should have won with a 3. I tried to sneak in the middle at 2 to catch you off guard, but now the element of surprise is gone. I was going to say Texas State Prison, best mattresses. If you remember from Longest Yard. Or
the original remake.
It was Kansas State Prison. It was like, oh, no way. For Coach Schneider, he's like, no, Kansas State Prison. All-time clip. That movie is so quotable.
Not as quotable as Airbud 2 Golden Receiver.
Oh, God.
Back to Deshaun Watson.
I guess, back to Deshaun. I guess at 2, I'll go with the Panthers just because it seems like they're so in, and I just don't think they've been trying so hard since Cam to find a quarterback that they are desperate and would overlook red flags like him being sued 23 times for sexual harassment.
At number 2, I have the Falcons, just because what could be a better fit than a terrible organization and a terrible person and a city just filled with the vices that he loves to go after. So I think that, just put them together and just let the organization crumble apart.
Yeah. All right. At 1, I have the Falcons for a lot of the reasons that you just said as well. And it would be just like the perfect opportunity for the blue checkmark brigade that always tweets the same thing to tweet the picture of Deshaun Watson, whether he's a ball boy for the Falcons growing up. He has ties to that area. Arthur Blank personally knows him. It would be just like the changing of the guard that they need at quarterback. So at 1, I have the Falcons.
At 1, I have the Saints, just because everything I didn't like about the Saints is gone, and I really want to dislike the Saints. So I'd really appreciate it if they added something that can make me not like them.
There you go. That logic checks out. I can't stop hating you once I have. So find something to do that makes me hate you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I can see, honestly, I could see any of those teams that we mentioned.
My favorite thing is how we talked for like 10 minutes about how we could go to the Browns, and then neither of us put the Browns on our list.
I just can't see it. Them having a good quarterback, I've never seen in my life. So
that's true. No one has. They haven't existed long enough to have a good quarterback.
That is true. Yeah, so I don't know on the Browns, but this would be really funny if this episode comes out and then he gets traded at like 3 a.m. tonight to the Browns.
Yeah, that'd be real funny for our TikTok algorithm too.
Yeah. They'd probably get roasted. But oh well. So that's our show. Great show tonight. That was pretty funny. I think we covered literally every topic that you could handle. This would pretty much be like if this were bar trivia, we would have hit everything. So great show. We'll be back next week. We actually have an interview lined up with a pretty cool guest next week. So that should be fun. We'll get into more of the draft stuff, and free agency should be pretty wrapped up by next week. So we'll put the bow on that. Vince, thank you for joining me. Let everybody know where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at @VinceCian_SCIAN_. And then you can follow 15M Media. That's at 15MMEDIA for all of, we do Birds versus Boys, but then we do all this other stuff too. You can find, Warren Sharp, and then we got some other stuff in the works, some other fun stuff. So go follow all those people also.
There you go. And make sure to follow us at Birds vs. Boys Pod on Twitter and on TikTok as well. That was it for episode 108. We will see where these guys land, and we'll be back with you next week.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things. I got 2 phones. Upset alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there.
There's no hope. Hope is gone. If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes. Bob Hope. I'm going to drink bleach. That is the team you promised me you were going to be this year. This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.